Disney paid $233 million for alleged overtime and minimum wage violations in 2024. But here's what should concern every HR leader and business owner alike. Minimum wage and overtime compliance mistakes don't just hit the big players. A small business with just a few employees could face a $250,000 disaster from the same types of oversights. I'm Alex Castro, a Florida licensed labor and employment attorney with AXC Legal located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I've helped South Florida businesses avoid millions in employment law disasters, from negotiating a $160,000 Department of Labor penalty down to under $16,000 and to completely defeating six-figure discrimination claims in court. Today, I'm going to show you the overtime mistake that's bankrupting businesses and how to protect your organization from it. Most HR teams think overtime is simple. Pay time and a half after 40 hours, right? There's a lot more to it than that. Wage and hour issues have hidden traps that even Disney fell into, and some of them are probably happening in your workplace right now. The mistake isn't about the hourly workers. Every HR professional knows they get overtime. The disaster happens when salaried employees are misclassified as exempt from overtime when they legally aren't. Disney's $233 million settlement involved over 50,000 employees who alleged they weren't getting proper overtime pay, among other things. But here's the thing, Disney has unlimited legal resources and experienced HR teams, and they still got sued for it. If a company with an army of lawyers and seasoned HR professionals can make minimum wage and overtime mistakes, it shows just how complex these classifications really are. Here's where even experienced HR teams can get caught. You can't just call someone a manager or pay them salary and avoid overtime. The law has specific tests that go far beyond job titles. The executive exemption requires that an employee's primary duty be management, that they regularly supervise 2 or more employees, and that they have authority to hire and fire or at least have significant input in those decisions. I see well-intentioned HR teams promote people to assistant manager when they're really just senior team members, or operations manager when they're just doing the same work as hourly employees. Here's a real example. A restaurant promotes someone to shift manager, but they spend 80% of their time cooking and cleaning, just like hourly workers. That's just an overtime suit waiting to happen. Here's what makes this exponentially worse for HR teams. If you don't have proper time records, courts are infinitely more likely to believe the employee's version of how many hours they worked, even if you think it's ridiculous. It's not like you can show otherwise. I've seen cases where employees claimed 60+ hour work weeks with no documentation for HR to dispute it. The employer paid based on the employee's word because the HR team had no records to reference. The 3 documentation mistakes that practically guarantee you lose: no time tracking for salaried employees, automatically assuming that salary equals no overtime records needed, and relying on memory instead of written records. I represented a South Florida landscaping company. Their HR team had classified 2 employees as administrative assistants making $50,000 salaries. The HR team reasonably thought the administrative exemption applied. But what went wrong? These employees were doing data entry and basic scheduling, not true administrative work requiring independent judgment and discretion. The result? 1 lawsuit later, the company paid $45,000 in back wages plus $35,000 in attorney's fees. The total damage? $80,000 for 2 employees. A simple classification audit would have cost around $2,500 and prevented the entire disaster, giving the HR team the confidence that they would have needed. Here's how HR teams can avoid becoming the next cautionary tale. Step 1. Audit every salaried position. Look at actual job duties, not just titles. Apply the legal tests, not the assumptions, and document everything for your files. Step 2. Track time for everyone. Yes, even salaried employees. The only pass you get for that are high-level managers. Use actual time tracking systems. Keep records for at least 5 years. Step 3. Get legal review. Have an employment attorney review classifications. Update job descriptions to match reality, and create compliant policies that support your HR processes. Here's what HR teams need to understand. Overtime violations compound daily. Every week someone is misclassified, you owe more money. And employees can go back up to 3 years for unpaid overtime and up to 5 years in some states. If you're thinking, maybe we have a problem, you probably do. And waiting won't make it cheaper for your organization. If you're in charge of classifications and wondering whether yours are correct, that uncertainty tells you everything you need to know. A wage and hour audit costs a fraction of what you'll pay in a lawsuit. I help South Florida HR teams identify these issues before they become expensive problems that land on the CEO's desk and get you yelled at. The difference between Disney and the company you work for isn't the same mistake. It's that Disney can afford a $233 million settlement. Can your CEO afford $250,000? HR professionals, you are the front line when it comes to protecting your company from wage and hour disasters. And the truth is, even the most experienced HR teams can miss hidden traps buried in job titles and outdated pay structures. I'm here to help you get ahead of costly mistakes before they ever reach your desk. A proper wage and hour audit can bring you peace of mind, protect your company's reputation, and reinforce the excellent work your HR team is already doing. If you're unsure about your exempt classifications or timekeeping policies, let's talk. Because while Disney could afford a $233 million mistake, most businesses can't even afford a $250,000 one. The link to schedule your compliance audit is in the description below. You don't have to navigate this alone. Make sure your policies reflect the law, support your team, and protect your business. Thanks for watching, and thank you for doing the hard work of building compliant, people-first workplaces.